Going into 2025, the NBA is not starved for talent. The players in today's game are the best in the world, and this year's Olympics more or less proved that. Not to harp on it too much, but teams like the US, France, and Serbia, the medal winners, all had a minimum of 2 or more current NBA players contributing big time to their roster. Moreover, moving away from the Olympics, in a season that seems highly competitive compared to most, this could be the year for many players to really carve out their legacy, to set themselves apart from their peers, or be one of the many talented individuals who for some reason couldn't get it done. In today's video, I want to talk about the best players in the world, but who's the best when looking at it by position? Starting with point guards, I'm not going to break down what one does, as most of them are very different in how they execute in 2024, but to be as fair and consistent as possible, I'll be naming my candidates based off of ESPN's NBA depth chart for starting point guards going into 2025. Whether you consider them one or not, this is their listed position according to ESPN. Real quick guys, for me, if you like the video, subscribe, it really means a lot, and back to the video. Number 10, Tyrese Haliburton. You know you're doing something when a group of people on the internet band together to give themselves a cute nickname in honor of you. Yes, the Hali band is growing strong, as not only did young Tyrese just recently lead his team to the Eastern Finals, he's coming off of a gold medal alongside one of the greatest rosters ever constructed and some of the greatest minds to ever play the game. I expect great things from Reese. He's already one of the better passers in the league, being one of only 2 players here averaging at least 10 assists. A first-time All-Star, a pretty good scorer when he gets it going. I don't like that he gets passes sometimes, almost forcing his teammates to do the scoring for him. But overall, I think he has a good future ahead of him. And if he does the things someone who really wants it would do, he has the ability to really improve over the coming years. The Pacers are his team, and I don't think there's any question about that. So the team will go as far as Tyrese takes them. Number 9, Trae Young. The ice Trae left out to melt feels like he's been in a pretty hot situation by the Hawks in my opinion. Having gotten rid of their all-star guard DeJounte Murray, it leaves me wondering what the Hawks have planned going for the future. If they really want to build around Trae and win, I believe keeping Murray and trading the number 1 overall pick was the best option, as anyone they would have drafted this year isn't on Young's timeline, and they're not a Wemby type prospect. Being the 10th seed last year and the roster not really improving, the team leaves a lot to be desired, but that's a topic for another day. Trae himself is phenomenal. The only other player on this list averaging 10 assists, he's a guard honestly comparable to the best of them. He's quick, can average 20 in his sleep, and at this point in his career is a solid veteran. The only thing that really keeps him back on this list is his defensive liabilities at times, not being the biggest player on the court. But he more than makes up for it for what he does for your team in clutch situations. They don't call him Ice Trae for nothing. Number 8, Damian Lillard. And what a lot of people would call a bad season for Dame, he still put up 24 points, 7 assists, 4 boards, and a steal on 42% shooting from the field, and 35.4% from 3. Playing 73 out of 82 regular season games, the Bucks season might not have ended the way they wanted to due to injury, but having had almost 6 months to recuperate by the time the season starts, like a lot of players on this list, I expect a lot from Dame time going into 2025. He's one of those guys getting up there in age that hasn't won a ring yet, a top 75 player of all time. Being able to carry the Larry O at least once in his career will be the icing on top of a hell of a run. He's had his clutch moments in Portland, the place he made a name for himself, being the only NBA player to ever have 2 series-ending buzzer-beater shots, iconic moments in his career, and he's even been to the Western Finals. Although the way it went might not have been something Dame wanted or might want you to forget, he's never played alongside a talent like the likes of Giannis, and anywhere he goes, I strongly believe decreases his chances to win. I know Doc isn't one of the better coaches in the league. In fact, I believe if they do win, it'll be despite him. It might not be the easiest road to a championship, but it's definitely not impossible when you have a player like Giannis and Dame playing at full throttle. Number 7, De'Aaron Fox. For those of you new to the channel, I really like De'Aaron's game. A cold-blooded killer and the inaugural Mr. Clutch, Fox is straight up one of the funnest players to watch because of how good he is. On a list where from here on out everyone shoots 42% from the field or higher, number 5 sets himself apart, shooting an incredible 46% on about 20 shots a night as the main ball handler and point leader for his team, averaging 26.6 points a night. The second seed in the West 2 years ago, the Kings have now doubled down around Fox, hoping that he's their guy for the future that can take them all the way. With the addition of DeRozan and other players naturally developing, Sacramento has come a long way from the team they used to be. But that doesn't mean anything is guaranteed, as last year they failed to make the playoffs, and in a stacked West, a bad start to the season could leave them in a similar situation. Number 6, Devin Booker. Putting Book on this list felt weird, as for most of his career he's played the 2, and he's been a damn good one at that. Taking the Suns and a veteran Chris Paul to the finals in 2021 was the peak of his run with Phoenix, at least up to this point. They've since added Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal, and Book has found himself at the 1 guard. He's not the best point guard on this list by definition, but when it comes to a lot of the guys on here, if this was a just pick your guy list, he would probably be a top 4 pick in my opinion, even though he doesn't have some of the guard skills that other players are going to have. Now a veteran guard himself, he's coming up on year 10, and I think Devin Booker has matured enough to the point that the only real thing now is winning a championship and getting it done. He's one of those guys that just came off of a gold medal with Team USA where he played big time minutes alongside his literal teammate KD. I don't know what this would do for their season, but from my point of view, it's hard not to expect a lot of great things from D-Book this year to come. Number 5, Ja. Arriving onto the scene in 2019, Ja quickly made a name for himself, winning the NBA's Rookie of the Year, and then soon the Most Improved award 2 years later. He's been one of the league's more prominent young players, last year excluded, and in a full healthy season, Morant last averaged 26 points, 6 boards, 8 assists, and a steal on good efficiency. Yes, he only averaged 30% from 3 on 5 attempts, but if you've seen Ja, you know he's at his most dangerous when driving down to the rim, trying to get his bucket around the paint area, all while doing it in that Ja type shit style. If you think 5 might be too high, I feel a lot of people are forgetting who Ja is. Because of those who stepped up in his absence, certain people have seemed to pass Ja by when it comes to aura, and not only in the point guard division. What Ja does this year truly has the potential to shake the league, and I'm greatly excited to see what happens next. Number 4, Jalen Brunson. I want to specify just how close and difficult it was making this list, as all of these guys are super talented, they're in the NBA for a reason, and can all be switched up on a day-to-day basis. But what Brunson did in New York is aura magnifying. It's one of the greatest team turnarounds I've ever seen, and they haven't looked back since. The number 2 seed in the East with an injured Julius Randle, a lot of people have the Knicks as a dark horse contender to win it all in 2025, something that seemed impossible just a couple of years ago. And a lot of that's thanks to Brunson. He's come a long way from starting behind Luka and really exploding in the series against the Jazz. Brunson's unexpected rise in the Mecca is a story of legend, and the best thing about this story is that it seems it's just getting started, with the 27-year-old Brunson barely entering his prime. Number 3, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Mr. Aura is another player who really stepped into his own last year. Hence Mr. Aura example number 1. The OKC Thunder leaped massively in the standings, going from the 10th seed and missing the playoffs in 2023 to number 1 in the West, beating out the defending champion Denver Nuggets in Jokic's roar to his 3rd MVP in 4 years. They did it as a very young team, the 3rd youngest team in the league by the sum of every player's age, and of course Shai was at the head of that snake. Averaging a cool 30 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists, he finished second in MVP voting and has a legit argument for being the 2025 favorite. There's not much more to say about Shai other than, like most of the fellows on this list, he's very good at the game of basketball. Something I'm curious about is if the Thunder can duplicate the Magic in a bottle type run they had this year and make a strong push not only in the regular season but the playoffs as well. Number 2, Steph Curry. Not having Steph as the best point guard in the league brings a tear to my eyes. Not because I'm a Warriors fan, but because it's a steady reminder that the hands of time wait for no man. Until that day comes, I'm going to enjoy watching the rest of Steph Curry's career, because he's still really good at the game of basketball, and having him anything other than number 2 at the point of this list just feels blasphemous. The greatest shooter of all time, and he's still playing at an elite level, coming off of a gold medal and missing the playoffs. There's no doubt in my mind that Steph might just want to pop out and show people why he is the greatest point guard of all time, even though he's not currently number 1. And number 1, Luka Dončić. In my opinion, Luka is currently one of the 3 best players in the world. The Mavs might not have gotten the outcome they wanted in the finals, but if there's anything I know about Luka Magic, it's that he always wants his back in blood. Continuously improving and willing to talk that talk, Luka's the type of player to have the best season of his career after having the best season of his career. And if you're not on the Luka train, hop on now or forever hold your peace. Because again, I see a very bright future for Luka's career, and the only thing stopping him is him.